So this area right here was all brassicas last year, and I sprayed them off about a week ago, and then I just mowed them down today, and we're tilling it up. We're gonna be broadcasting some beans over the soil like this, and then we're gonna till in the broadcasted beans, and then I'm gonna come back through and drill in with the 1-row push planter. So I wanna get these suckers in pretty thick. And then later today, if I have time, it's supposed to rain today, I'm gonna go over there on that side of the house, that side of the property, and I'm gonna be doing a no-till. I'm gonna be doing a no-till method for beans. Basically, I'll just be broadcasting into standing like brassicas and winter rye, but that I haven't sprayed, so hopefully I can get a good kill on it. But yeah, this is 2 completely different methods. Obviously, we can't really get the disc in between the rows here. That's why we got to rototill it. We're probably only gonna be able to plant this area probably for the next 1 or 2 years because the trees are starting to get pretty big, as you can tell. But yeah, it should turn out pretty decent, I think. Alright, so this area behind me here, we're going to be using a completely different method. As you can tell, it's about waist high. A lot of this stuff, like this right here, is just one brassica plant. You can see the bulb it made, not much of a bulb, but this all grew back this spring, basically because the deer didn't rip out the bulb. But and the rest of this stuff is all just winter rye that I seeded in here too. You can tell it came back pretty strong in the spring. It's actually starting to make a, I don't know if you can see that, a seed head. So anyways, I'm just gonna broadcast the soybeans in here because there's actually fairly good seed to soil, soil exposure at the bottom level. Well, as you can tell, it did a fabulous job of crushing everything down. Now I'm going to spray it, and it should die off really nicely, and everything hopefully should germinate. You can see some of the beans here are not quite covered as good, but other ones are actually pushed into the ground pretty good from all the driving around, and covered up with all this mulch layer. You can even see some of the old brassica bulbs here, turnip bulbs. But yeah, you can see everything's covered up and like right underneath everything. So that should turn out pretty good, I think. This is the first time I've ever planted like this. And if this works, this is going to be kind of a good method to use a lot, because you can seed in this winter rye right as the soybeans start turn yellow. And it should just be a good rotation, no-till soybeans. So we'll see how it works out compared to the other spot in the video. Well, as you can tell, this is all sprayed off lawn right here, And we're just gonna go over here with a few times with the disc and then use our hand row or hand push planter and kind of drill our beans right in these rows. We probably won't do every slot because that'll be too thick, but pushing that through there, it should drop the seeds in, and then we'll just drive over with a bunch with the ATV or something, and that should pack everything down. This is all sprayed off lawn, so this is all dying off well. Even if it doesn't die off that great, we can just spray it again and round up ready beans. But yeah, it should turn out, I think. That's gonna be corn up there. That was corn that area right there, and that was beans right there. So we could probably just disc the heck out of it and probably work up good, but this is gonna be easier, I think. Well, it's working out pretty good. Been using this 1-row corn planter for a lot of my soybean food plots. Show you how it's working here. I got quite a few rows in already. You can see here are all the slits from the disc. I mean, some of them are pretty far down there, which is what you want. Other ones are kind of just sitting here on the top. But yeah, when I come back through here, I probably will use the drag with the 4-wheeler. That'll hopefully work in some of these ones like this, and maybe knock them down into some of these crevices, kind of burying them better. But yeah, the disc did an excellent job. You can see some of them right here are right on the edge. If those get knocked down into there, that'd be great. And then I'm just gonna pack it all down at the end with the 4-wheeler too. Well, just finished up everything. After I dragged it, I packed it down and did some donuts in here with the 4-wheeler to kind of hopefully pack everything down pretty good. I think we got everything covered really nicely. This should turn out pretty good, hopefully. I guess only time will tell. But I think this plot right here we put in just kind of a poor man's no-till is going to be just as good as the area that we plowed up, disked, and then used our new corn planter. This area should turn out hopefully just as good. So I guess I'll update you when all the stuff starts growing, hopefully 1 to 2 weeks from now. So see you then. Well, it's time to update you guys on how this turned out, and it turned out really nicely. As you can tell, it's really thick. I wanted it to be super thick because I know the deer always come from this direction as they're heading out towards our bigger food plots, and the road is just behind those trees. So this is like the first spot they're gonna hit, so I'm kind of expecting a lot of deer browse here. But yeah, it's coming up really good germination. It's probably actually a little too thick, but hopefully the deer get in here and start thinning them out. But yeah, look at how thick it is right there. I mean, just really nice growth overall. And the food plot kind of wraps around some of these cedar trees and then goes out this way. Over here it's a little bit thinner, so it'll be interesting to see which beans, you know, grow better. But yeah, it's pretty good throughout the whole plot. Sorry about the sun glare, but yeah, it's just crazy how well this worked out. You can see all the old winter rye here, even some of the brassica bulbs yet haven't really decomposed that much. Right up here was a spot that there was not much growing, You can see it's pretty much bare exposed soil, and we even got pretty good germination here. There's a lot of rocks in here, so that's why. Plus it's such a weirdly shaped food plot, it's going to be kind of hard to till this anyway. But yeah, I'm just really pleased with the results from this no-till method. You can tell it's really greening up well. I'll update you one more time probably. This is the area that we basically broadcasted the soybeans in and tilled it all up. And man, this spot just took off. We got it too thick, kind of like the other spot. I mean, these bean plants are pretty small and it's almost solid green, so definitely too thick. But I could see a few of them nipped off. Hopefully the deer start nipping off a few more, because usually when they bite them off when they're that young, usually they die. Sometimes they come back, but they're just really stunted. But yeah, they could nip off at least half of them in here and we'd still be okay. But yeah, look at this. This worked out way better than what I thought. This is a totally different method than the other spot in the video. That was basically no-till. This is just backyard food plotting. I mean, throwing the beans down on sprayed ground, tilling them in. Worked out great. I did drill in a few rows with the corn planter. I probably shouldn't have did that, but I can't even see where the rows are because, like I said, we just broadcasted them pretty thick. This is pretty cool here. You can tell where we rototilled right here, but this little section right here was not rototilled. I remember throwing in a few beans here, and it looks like we got 3 of them. Boom, boom, boom. Compared to that, I mean, it's a huge difference. That's why if you're no-tilling soybeans, you gotta have something to cover them up with. As you can tell here, everything was pretty much, we mowed all this down before we tilled it up, so it was pretty much as short as what you see here, and the beans are just sitting on top of the soil like this. The birds got all of them. I don't see any of them anymore, but you can tell we got one there, maybe one here that germinated on top. So just a few, and comparing to that, it's totally different. Even over here on the end, I don't see anything. Should have rototilled further, but maybe here we got a few germinated that ran on the top. But yeah, it's just a little comparison right there. Well, here we are. Not really sure how long this is after, but I'll have it up on the screen. This method worked out pretty good. I wasn't really sure how well this was going to work out, and the beans are coming up. There's a few of them that just must have germinated right in the middle here, but most of them are coming up right where we cut the ground up with the disc. And as you can tell, you can see defined rows in there pretty well. Yeah, you can see them way down in here that they were the seed fell right down in the crack and germinated right in the rows. It worked out pretty good. But yeah, I'm really pleased with these results we were having. This is beans, that's all beans. We got a little bit of corn there, and then corn right there. So a lot of winter food for the deer out here. Well, here we are, final update in this video. We've gotten a ton of rain the last couple days, and it's been a really long time since I updated you guys on these beans. And they're almost knee-high now. It's looking really good. You can kind of see all the knife marks from the disc, and all the plants are growing like right in a line right here. It's kind of hard to see. But yeah, you can see this is all the old dead grass. I did spray this once, but there wasn't too many weeds that were coming back. It's looking really good. This area right here, the stuff I just showed you, this was planted probably a week and a half or so later than the rest of the garden here. These beans down here, you saw these in the last video. These are right about knee-high right now. Maybe a little bit higher in some areas. These are gonna turn some really nice beans, I think. We got these planted earlier this year than we did last year. And even this spot was put in earlier than we planted the whole field last year. So the yield should be pretty good on these beans, because I know soybeans put a lot of their yield on kind of in September, like right in the end of the growing season, because last year we had pods right on the top of these plants down here that couldn't even mature, even though they had a ton of pods that did mature. It seems like the soybeans put a lot of yield on right at the end of the growing season. So the earlier you get everything in the ground, the better. But yeah, this is looking really good. These ones, like I said, are almost caught up with those. And then way down here in the end, I ended up putting some corn in too. You can see, I mean, there is some bare spots, but it did come in pretty good. And basically, you can see all the lines right here from the disc still. I just ran the seeder right through there, and and there's still some pretty big crevices. But after running it through, I just packed it all down really good with the 4-wheeler. Here's a Roundup resistant weed right here. This is that water hemp or pigweed. This is some pretty bad crap. Yeah, I'm gonna take you right over here to the no-till spot next. All right, so this was the area that we had a lot of winter rye and brassicas grow back from last year's planting. You can kind of still see a lot of it laying down here. All this dead stalky material, the winter rye and the brassicas and stuff. And I never sprayed this at all, other than the day that we planted, where I crushed everything down and sprayed. Because the beans, I threw them in here super thick because I was expecting more deer browse, but like I said in the other video, I think a lot of the deer are further away off the property, kind of more on ag fields and stuff, further away from our place. There's so many beans around this year. Last year we got a lot more deer browse, and I was seeing a lot more deer, but this year, so basically I threw them in super thick expecting there'd be deer browse and they would kind of thin them out, but that didn't really happen. And you can kind of see it's definitely too thick. The soybeans are pretty thin. The wind kind of knocked a few of them down right there and whatever, but they still got a few flowers on them and stuff. They're gonna produce something, but they definitely shouldn't be this thick. So yeah, this looks great for just throwing the stuff down, crushing it down and spraying it. It just worked out beautifully. Couldn't ask for anything better. All right, here we are. This is the spot where we basically threw the soybeans down and just tilled them right into the soil. I did spray this once because there was a few weeds coming back, but again, we put this in probably way too thick, as you can tell, and this stuff canopied over very fast. So the little bit of weeds that did come through, I sprayed them and it just looks beautiful. They all died off and it looks great. This stuff is a little bit taller than the other food plot that we no-tilled because it's, you know, pretty much full sun here, and I'm guessing these will be some of the tallest beans we got because this stuff is so thick. It's just full sun. It's just going to compete for sunlight and probably get close to waist high by the end of the year. I mean, look at, they're already past my knees a little bit. This is taller than the ones in the garden, actually. About halfway up these little pine trees. It's kind of nice because I can walk right between these tree rows, just kind of check out the beans without crushing anything. You can just see we've had some really hot 90-degree days, and it doesn't even matter because way down here at the soil level, it's just complete darkness. And now that we got all this rain, this soil is going to stay moist probably for the rest of the year. This is really, like I said, we have really clay ground here, lots of clay, so this stuff just holds the moisture really good. And now that it's getting no sunlight to the ground, so that's just going to hold the moisture in all year long with all this shade from the beans. So thanks for watching. Really hope you enjoyed the 3 different processes we've used to plant these 3 little small areas of soybeans this year. It's just really amazing how well, you know, how many different ways you can plant food plots and get them to grow well. I mean, all 3 of these processes are pretty much completely different. The first area, we sprayed off the grass. We just lightly disked it up, drilled in the beans, packed it all down. The second area, this area, we mowed it all down, broadcast the beans, tilled it in, and then sprayed it once. In the last area, we broadcast everything, crushed it all down and sprayed it. Just completely different, and everything worked out great. So stick around for more videos. Pretty soon the brassica videos will probably be, well, not pretty soon, probably about a month from now is when I'll be probably uploading a few of those. So yeah guys, thanks for watching.